there's a town hidden in the Appalachian foothills, one so shrouded in secrecy and superstition that even neighboring communities refuse to speak its name aloud. It appears on maps as Fairhaven, but to those who have lived near it or heard its stories, it has a different reputation. They call it the Hollow, a place that should never have been built. The origins of Fairhaven are as murky as the fog that clings to its trees. Officially, it was established in 1912 as a coal mining settlement, its population swelling quickly as industry expanded. But the land on which Fairhaven was built had a reputation long before shovels hit the soil. Generations of indigenous people who once lived in the region considered the area sacred, but not in a way that invites worship. It was a land avoided, a place said to be tethered to ancient spirits that demanded solitude. Burial grounds, sacred forests, and unspoken taboos surrounded the area. But as is often the case in history, these warnings were ignored in the name of progress. Shortly after the first homes were constructed, strange things began to happen. Miners reported hearing whispers deep underground, voices calling them by name, sometimes mimicking the voices of their loved ones. Men emerged from the mines disoriented and fearful. Several refused to go back. Then, the accidents began. Equipment malfunctioned, tunnels collapsed, and workers vanished without explanation. No bodies were recovered. The official reports blamed poor safety protocols, but those who were there whispered of something deeper, something watching. One chilling incident occurred in 1915, when an entire work crew of 9 men disappeared during a routine tunnel expansion. They had entered the mine at 6 a.m. and were never seen again. When rescue workers descended into the shaft, they found no signs of a cave-in, no signs of struggle. All that remained were their tools, neatly placed in a row, and a single, freshly carved word in the tunnel wall: forgive. Despite these events, the town grew. By the 1930s, Fairhaven boasted over 3,000 residents, a town hall, 3 churches, and a school. But even above ground, things weren't right. Children spoke of seeing figures in the woods, tall, thin shapes that seemed to glide instead of walk. Pets would go missing. People would wake up to find handprints on their windows, handprints too large to be human. Then came the disappearances. In 1941, a woman named Eliza Crane went missing from her home in the middle of the night. Her husband swore she was right beside him when he went to sleep. The bed was still warm when he woke up. The front door was locked from the inside. There were no footprints outside. Eliza was never found. More followed. Children vanished on their way to school. Entire families left behind meals, pets, and possessions as if they had evaporated. The sheriff's department was overwhelmed and eventually stopped filing reports. They couldn't explain what was happening, and no one wanted to be the one to suggest what people were starting to believe, that the town itself was cursed. By 1957, half the population had fled. The coal mines shut down after a series of unexplained deaths. A preacher named Rev. Samuel Briggs tried to rally the town against what he called the darkness beneath us, but he too vanished. His church burned to the ground the same night. No one saw the fire, only the ashes remained. Urban legends grew. Some claimed the town was a doorway. Others said it was built over a sealed pit, a prison for something ancient and malevolent. Still others believed it wasn't the land that was cursed, but the town itself, as if its very creation had offended the natural order. A particularly disturbing tale emerged in the 1970s, when a group of college students on a folklore project visited the ruins of Fairhaven. They planned to camp for a weekend. On the first night, they heard laughter in the trees, followed by what they described as a chorus of voices mimicking their conversations. They packed up the next morning, but only 4 of the 6 students made it out. The other 2 were never found. The survivors never spoke publicly again, but one privately told a family member. It wasn't the woods, it was the town. The town is alive. By the 1990s, Fairhaven had all but disappeared from maps and memory. But every so often, hikers or thrill seekers would stumble across its remnants. A rusted swing set, a crumbling schoolhouse, a church bell lying half buried in moss. Some report feelings of overwhelming dread. Others claim to hear crying in the wind. Still others disappear entirely. In 2004, a documentary team set out to film a piece on America's forgotten towns. Fairhaven was on their list. They spent 5 days filming. Their footage, which was recovered from a dropped camera near the edge of the woods, shows something startling. Figures moving in the background, eyes glinting in the dark, and one whispered phrase repeated over and over. "This is not your home." To this day, no one knows who recovered the footage. The crew was never found. In 2017, a private investigator named Trina Cole took on a case involving a missing backpacker last seen near Fairhaven. Determined to uncover the truth, she spent 3 weeks in the region, documenting everything. Her journal entries became increasingly erratic. One entry reads, "The forest is wrong. It changes. I mark the trees, but the marks vanish. I walk in circles. It's watching me." Her final entry was a single line. "It doesn't want me to leave." Her body was never recovered, but her journal was found in an abandoned ranger station 20 miles away, sitting neatly on a desk. Some believe Fairhaven never should have existed, that the construction of the town disturbed something that had been buried for a reason. Others think it was a convergence point, a location where the veil between worlds is thin, a place where time warps, where spirits feed, or where dimensions leak into our own. What remains is a ghost town with no clear history and too many missing names. A place forgotten by most, but feared by the few who remember. Local legends say the town still calls out to people, that certain individuals receive dreams or visions, a compulsion to find Fairhaven. Most never do. Those who do, don't return. Even today, the land where Fairhaven once stood remains cordoned off. Unexplained power outages and electromagnetic disturbances plague the area. Wildlife avoids it. Locals don't pass through after sundown. One man, a former ranger, anonymously posted this warning online. "You don't find Fairhaven. It finds you, and if it does, don't answer. Don't step into the fog. And if you hear your name in the wind, run. Run and don't look back, because if you do, you'll never leave." So, if you're driving through the Appalachian backroads and you see a sign for Fairhaven, even if it's just a rusty plaque in the woods, keep driving. Don't stop. Don't explore. And above all, don't follow the path. Because some towns were never meant to be built, and some stories were never meant to be uncovered.